Hi everyone, happy Halloween. I thought it would be fun to do a little tutorial on a more spooky, black themed layout for invitation flat lay. And I thought it also might be fun to start out with the flat lay actually put together. I've done a couple tutorial videos that start from scratch and kind of show you how I build it out. But this is a full layout that I just put together, and I thought it might be fun if we can kind of deconstruct it and you can see all the different pieces I used and how I layered everything and what I chose for this spooky black themed Halloween flat lay. So this is a pretty busy flat lay. This is probably one of the busiest flat lays I've ever made, but I'm kind of loving it. There's a lot of going on, and especially since this was more of a themed design layout for Halloween in October, I thought it might be fun to have a lot of like individual little pieces that we could talk about, and you can see how I use them in the flat lay. So first, the actual black background is just black linen material that you can get at any fabric store. I just ironed it to make sure it would be flat for the images and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and take photography stills of everything that I do today so that you can see how the actual photography would look after you're done with your flat lay design. So then I used this piece here, which is literally just cheesecloth. And there's a lot of really beautiful companies that sell pre-dyed cheesecloth. It gets a little expensive sometimes. This cheesecloth I literally purchased off of Amazon for, I think it was $8. And then when you get it, it looks a little flat and uninteresting. I just ran it through the washing machine and the dryer for a little while, and it gave it this really nice kind of textured, wrinkled feel to it. So as you can see, I kind of draped that down the center of the flat lay just to give a little bit more interest, and because since the pieces of the flat lay, the liner and the envelopes, they're black, so there wouldn't really be a lot to make those stand out if we didn't layer some type of other color on top of the black fabric. So this really helps those pieces pop. Along with, I put together just really quickly last night some actual invitation pieces. This is just a handmade cotton paper, and I will put links to all of the companies where I get the pieces that I use for my flat lays. The paper, the ribbon, this is from Silk and Willow. I believe the paper is from Fringe and Rose, but I just quickly did this up, and because I'm a stickler for details, the text is actually from Edgar Allan Poe's A Telltale Heart, so if you're into super details like that, that's where the text is from. And then I did a pretty messy wax seal with some drips. Probably if you were doing a wedding invitation, you'd have a little bit more uniform of a wax seal, but since this was a spooky theme, I wanted to do something a little bit more rustic. So when I placed that, you can see here that I used some of my styling blocks to lift this piece up above the rest of everything going on here, so that would really stand out. And again, I sell these styling blocks in my Etsy shop, Luster Theory, and I just use them throughout my flat lays to make everything lifted and pop out and showcase the pieces you really want to see. So I'm going to take this piece away. And you can see here the different block sizes. I really had to pump that up because there was a lot of other things going on here. And I also find that if I use a secondary piece of fabric like I did here with the cheesecloth, you really need to layer more of the blocks because it makes an uneven surface. All right, then we have these fabulous invitations that were black and gold. So I used those here throughout. I also chose some fabulous, I don't know if a pomegranate is that spooky, but you can tell that has a really nice texture, and it went with the theme. I wanted kind of like black and deep reds. in here, and the pomegranate, when you cut it in half, it really gives that nice feel to it. And this is a pretty heavy object visually. So if you're using something like this in a flat lay, you definitely want to have other things that will balance out the image. Because if all you have is a couple pieces of, you know, paper invitations and maybe like a flower, like putting a heavy object like this in your flat lay is really going to add weight to wherever you put that. So you can see here, I also use this fabulous protea that I got at Norfolk Wholesale Florist yesterday. But this kind of helped, you know, even that out. We had the pomegranate down here, and I placed this here, and you can see it has that really nice coloring that I was going for with the rest of the flat lay. So we use that protea. And then I have this fun, spooky, you know, kind of old Victorian little oil painting. You know, looks like it could be haunted in a haunted house. So I used that. There's a fun key down here that I just put some ribbon on. Again, ribbons from Silk and Willow. And little blackberries. Now, little details like this are sometimes hard to see. Excuse me, my cat's like bumping the camera. But once you take your photography and you get everything into post and you're working with those pieces, you can highlight and bring out little details like this, even though this is almost the same color as the backdrop that we're using here. All right. Also put in some figs. These are really nice. They have such a beautiful tone to them. Oftentimes they'll have a little bit of green and that like purpley deepness, very romantic feeling. Also went along nicely with the theme. And then I just sprinkled some, I believe these are little tiny chrysanthemum petals, but they have that like deep, almost like little blood droplets. So I thought those would be exciting to, you know, just kind of sprinkle. And when you're doing things like that, you just like sprinkle it around and move it. You know, you might get too much of it in one area, but and here's a nice little cut fig. That's what it looks like on the inside. You can see it has really beautiful seeds and coloring in there. All right, and our lovely liner, again, pushed up a little bit by the styling blocks underneath. And just some white roses. These were interesting though because they're not fully white. They have this almost purpley lavender tint on the inside of the floral. So I knew once those opened up, it would give it a little bit of a darker, you know, not dirty, but almost, you know, good for that spooky feeling rather than just like a bright white rose. Some more little random paper pieces with some wax seals. You know, just little things of interest that you can add in. I also found these fun little floral things that have that nice orange tone to it. I sprinkled some of those in and around. All right, so we kind of have this pretty much deconstructed. You have your outer main envelope here with stamps and everything on it. Again, held up by the styling blocks. And that's pretty much it. So you can see now that this is just deconstructed. You have the black background, then just the flowing cheesecloth here. And how everything was kind of layered in and placed down and on the cheesecloth. So I'll go ahead and kind of put that back together again a little quicker this time so you can see how all of it was put together the first time. All right, so I'm just taking the main, actually I think I'm going to use a bigger piece here. This is the 4x6 styling block. All right. See, you can see even when you have it on the fabric, it's uneven on one side. So sometimes you literally have to stick like one more block on that side to counter the fact that it's sitting on the fabric and pushing it up, just to make sure that the envelope is flat there. All right. Just gonna push that over there. And then now I have to remember how I had it. But we had the protea, which I think was about there. All right. And another envelope here. So this one I really had to build up the styling blocks for. Probably another one, just to make sure it sits high enough. I'm just going to bring that down. And then we had the main invitation, and that was actually even higher than this envelope. Let's see. Nope, still need another one. There we go. See, that looks nice. And now that's lifted and it's really popping out. There. All right, and then we have the lovely spooky lady. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. She was about there, I think. Then we had the main envelope with the stamps here. Again, probably gonna need to, oh, yeah, layer 2 there probably. Perfect. Let's throw one of those. This might not be exactly how it was, but throw one of those in there. And then this size could be your, you know, your details card or maybe your RSVP card there. So just gonna pop that here, and that's gonna be a little bit lower, but I'm okay with that. I'm actually gonna stick the protea stem under the cheesecloth. Extra little paper detail. That beautiful pomegranate is kind of down there, but you see how like the pomegranate's heavy, then you also have the protea up over there. So visually it's giving you a nice balance. Might even move this down a little bit. Pop that up more. Just gonna take a look. Push that up there. Gonna put another rose here. You can see the little fig is still there. And I know you might be thinking, oh, you know, why use all those little details? It might not even show like when you take the photograph, but you'd be surprised. It's those tiny things that add interest to the image that you don't even realize. So we have our little skeleton key here. I'll just lay that there. All right. Another little piece of paper. Push that in maybe here. Maybe add that here. I don't know, just something extra right there. Then, I don't know, I'm liking that. Might put a few more little blood droplets on in here. I have some other little fun details. I might take some pictures using these. I have this fun vintage book that's a little creepy looking. It's like a dark, it has the gold pieces on it. I might use that for something else. I also have these weird little, I don't even know what they are. There's like spiky fruit things. So, yeah, all right, well, I'm really liking this. Maybe one more flower. Yeah, like right there. Add in some texture. I also have some white flower petals. I don't know if we really want to add in too much more, but so there you go. Super interesting to look at. Romantic, spooky for Halloween. Something different than I normally do. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll put all the links to the products in my notes for this video, along with a link where if you want to purchase a set of my styling blocks in my Etsy shop. All right, thanks so much. Happy Halloween.